Alright, so you're ready to start writing your screenplay in the ISMfilm screenwriting application FadeIn. Simply log into the website. You can navigate to the FadeIn icon in the carousel from the main login screen, or from any screen you can click this menu button up here and click FadeIn. So this is going to pop up a new window, and it's going to ask you to fill out a title page for your script. So let's go ahead and fill that real quick so you can see how that looks. This little piece is going to be called Flashlight. It's going to be written by me. The revision number is going to be number 1. Company name is Fletchett Entertainment. I'm not going to type in my real street address because I don't want a million unwanted things mailed to me. So city, put the state in there at least, and a phone number. And this is so people reading the script can get a hold of the writer. So when you say OK, now you can cancel out of this and it'll create a default page for you, title page, but it's just best to start it off right. So here we have the page. Now in this second section, the second page in here, you can see it's got FadeIn listed here, and this is your first page that you'll be writing on. Let's run through curriculum. Let's run through the navigation real quick so you can kind of get a taste for the UI. So up here, all these buttons are the buttons you'll be using to add elements to your screenplay. This is your editing sort of panel, so you have copy, cut, paste. Here is a zoom, so you can zoom in and out of your document like this. You can also create a new document, import, export, save. Now the import, export allows you to import and export it right to your desktop, so you can take the file with you and work on it someplace else if you wanted to do that, or save old drafts of them, that sort of thing. You can also save them obviously directly to the system and load them and then print them. So over here you have your scene heading window and your characters window, and what those do, I'll show you what those do in just a moment. Let's get into the writing of it. Now you always start a screenplay off with, some start it with FadeIn. I prefer to start mine off with a slug line or a scene heading. So the scene heading, also known as a slug line, indicates first whether it's an interior or exterior scene. So you indicate that by writing INT for interior. In this case, I think we're going to start with an exterior scene. It will automatically capitalize the entire scene heading for you. And you know that you're selected on a scene heading by the white button. So if this button turns white, you know that that's the indicator of what element it is in your screenplay. So the next phase about a slug line or scene heading is the location of the scene. And locations are always drawn in sort of from very large geographical areas to small ones. In other words, if I'm talking about someone's kitchen, I might say it's on, Sesame Street, Johnny's house, kitchen. So for this particular one, we're going to say Los Angeles, City Street, alley. The next part of a slug line or scene heading is the indicator of whether or not it's day or night. You can also, I've seen dusk and that sort of thing put in there, but it's typically day or night. This one is going to be night. Now when you press return, it's going to drop you down and get ready to write your action line in your scene. Now action lines are not capitalized, they're they're just normal case. So let's say open on a cordoned off city street, period. It's late at night. Cop cars, police barricades, and yellow tape are everywhere. Okay, so here is a particular action line. Now, I wanted you to also note that you can just copy and paste text. So, like, here's my next line of dialogue, or action. So you can copy and paste that as well. Now, moving on, I want to show you, let's show you the next thing, which I'm gonna skip a couple of lines in the actual script, and I'm going to show you how to write dialogue. So in dialogue, you'll notice that as we mouse over these, again, here's an action line. Now that button is highlighted, and up here, now the scene heading is highlighted. So you can see how that works. Also, when we wrote that scene heading, note that that same scene heading is now appearing over here. And as we add more scene headings, you'll see that you can use this panel to actually navigate through your script. So if you have 20 or 30 pages in your script, or more, 100 or more, oftentimes it's hard to find certain scenes. So you can scroll down, find the scene you're looking for, click it, and it will actually find and take you right to that scene in your screenplay. Now let's drop down and show you how to write some dialogue. So first, before you write dialogue, I got to know who's saying it. So go up here and you click the character button. And that's going to center your cursor, and it's also going to force cap, which is how you indicate a character. So we're going to say Captain Jack. Now when I press return, it's going to automatically format for dialogue. So you can see now I'm on a dialogue line, and it's waiting for me to put dialogue into it. Now you'll also notice over here it's inserted Captain Jack as one of your characters. So let's write some dialogue for him. He's going to shout out somebody's name, Myrtlebeck. Now when I press return, you're going to notice it's getting me ready to write a character's name again. I'm on a character line, and that's because typically when you're writing dialogue, more oftentimes than not, you have one person talking to another. And to expedite this process, we found it's helpful if, when I press return after a dialogue line, it automatically gets me ready to put in the next person, since typically they're talking to one another. Now, if you didn't want to write dialogue, you want to write an action line next, you can simply click the action button and it reformats that line. So you can now write action. Right? But let's say we do want to write a character's name. It's all centered, it's ready for us. We're going to type in Myrtlebeck, because Myrtlebeck is going to respond to him. Press return, drops you down, gets ready for dialogue, adds Myrtlebeck over here in the characters line. And he's going to say, yes, sir. Oops. There's no E in sir. Okay, so he says, yes, sir. Now, one of the things you can do, and this is what's really fun, is about now we have these characters, you'll eventually have a whole cast of characters in here that you can just click on. So now I don't have to write Captain Jack, I can just click Captain Jack. And it drops me down, gets me ready to write dialogue, and he can say, you know, let's have him write. But I'm going to put in a parenthetical here. Now, a parenthetical describes to the actor how they should be saying it. So we're going to have him say whispering. Now, he's going to whisper, throw a light on the roof, period. So now you can see he's whispering this to him. I can add another line, slug line. Let's add another slug line, which is exterior rooftop. So city street, rooftop. It's also night. You can also write continuous here, but I'm going to continue to write night. So continuous should just indicate that it's the same as the previous scene in this location. But I'm going to write night. Press return. You'll notice here's my exterior city street rooftop night. And when I click this one, it takes my cursor right up to that scene. When I click this one, I'm back down to this scene. You can also indicate this, see this by what line you're currently on. So I'm on kind of line 55 to 56. Now I'm on 41 to 56. So, and this will change as you change pages as well. So that is the basics for writing a screenplay and using FadeIn. We'll cover more of the format and writing screenplays in another tutorial. I just wanted to get this one out so I can show you guys how to use FadeIn. And I'm going to wrap this up by showing you how to save your document. So now you've written this, don't exit out of this without saving it or you will lose your document. So go ahead and click Save and type the name of your document. I'm going to say this is flashlight number 2. I'm going to say OK. It saves it, tells you that it's saved correctly. Now when I load it, I have flashlight and flashlight number 2. And I can pull up either or, and it tells me also the date and time that it was saved. And if you want to print it, you can press the print button. It will pull up a print box here and simply select your printer and say OK, and you're ready to go. Those are the basics for using FadeIn. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll cover more of the formatting of a screenplay in another edition. Thanks.